The airline isn't telling us why, just that the airplane is not available.
Frustrations at Willard Airport after an airline backs out of a contract weeks early.
It's been actually 2 years since we've accepted applications.
One charity is ready to reopen its waiting list. Find out what that means for people hoping for a new home.
And hear why home realtors say this year will be much better than last. ABC News Channel 15, News at 6 starts now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Heather Hubbs.
And I'm Doug Quick. An airline offering nonstop flights to Florida from Willard Airport is cutting its contract with the airport short.
ABC News Channel 15's Liz Lohheis joins us live in the studio with more on tonight's top story. Liz.
Doug and Heather, it was a plan in the works for years. Willard wanted to offer an inexpensive nonstop flight to the Sunshine State in the winter months, and it had finally worked out an agreement with Vision Airlines, only for the airline to back out early.
An easy, affordable way for travelers to get to sunny, warm weather fast. That's what Willard Airport manager Steve Wansick envisioned when he worked out an agreement with Vision Airlines.
We worked for literally years searching for an airline that would provide nonstop service to somewhere in Florida.
And for a few weeks, he had found it. Vision agreed to offer the nonstop flights to Fort Myers starting on December 19th and running through March. But soon after the first flight, Vision told Willard the plane going on that route would no longer be available.
The airline isn't telling us why, just that the airplane is not available.
Wansick says he's not only disappointed, he's frustrated with Vision Airlines.
And we didn't get to do the advertising that we wanted to do because it was a late final contract, and then almost immediately they announced that they weren't going to serve the whole time. When you work for a year or two trying to get something and then it through no fault of the airport, it doesn't work, then it's very frustrating.
The news doesn't only affect Willard and those planning a winter getaway, it also takes away from a potential economic boost.
They fly in, they would go out to eat, they would go to the shop, they would look at art galleries and might be here for entertainment. All of those things are then impacted if you don't have the people being able to come here.
Wansick tells me as soon as Willard heard Vision was leaving, the airport immediately began working on a similar package with another airline. He's confident nonstop flights to Florida will again be offered through Willard by next winter. Heather, back to you.
Thanks, Liz. Vision has refunded all passengers who bought a ticket to travel after tomorrow. Wansick says hundreds have flown on Vision Airlines since it started flights in December. Now, you can still fly tomorrow for $59. However, you will have to find another way back.
Tucked away in their offices in Chicago or Springfield, politicians can often seem out of reach to those of us here in the rural parts of Illinois, which is why the Attorney General is taking her office to the people. Today, a representative of the Attorney General's office traveled to Charleston and Mattoon to meet with constituents and to hear their concerns on a wide range of topics, including health care fraud, veterans and military rights, and internet safety. After listening to the concerns, the representative discusses how the Attorney General's office can help.
I mean, we're a state agency, we're here for the people, and so it's important for the people to have easy access to us.
The Attorney General has permanent offices in Carbondale, Springfield, and Chicago. The plan is for liaisons with those offices to get out into other parts of the state at least 4 times a year. Of course, if you don't want to wait until the next time they pass through town, you can call their offices and voice your concerns at any time.
A 49-year-old Danville woman died last night in a car accident just outside the city. Lori Presswood was going south on Bowman Avenue when another driver blew the stop sign at Poland Road and T-boned her. A friend of Presswood said today the death is especially tragic since she was just days away from moving to Florida in search of a fresh start. The Vermilion County Sheriff's Office is still investigating. An autopsy was scheduled for today. And Doug, what a beautiful day it was out there today.
Yeah, it certainly was. We saw plenty of sunshine today, and we showed you those vapor trails from the jets passing overhead. It's amazing how many of them fly by relatively unnoticed until you see a day like today, and it was just vapor trails all over the place. In fact, we're going to show you tower cam. You can still see the jets fly over. ESP Live looking at clear conditions and certainly no precipitation here in east central Illinois at the present time. Our temperatures at Willard Airport, a cool 38 degrees, breezes out of the south at around 9, making it feel like around 31. Meanwhile, in Danville, 45 degrees there, so it's a little warmer. Wind chill at 39 degrees. And looking ahead to the day tomorrow, more sunshine. We'll top out around 54 degrees. Nice start to the weekend, although the weekend promises to be a little cooler. I'll have all the details with the Storm Team 15 forecast coming up. Heather, now back to you.
Thanks, Doug. People in Champaign may soon have the chance to save money on their electric bills. It's part of a program called Municipal Electric Aggregation. ABC News Channel 15's James Fillmore joins us live with more on this story. James.
Heather, this program could save individuals between 5 and 10% on their electricity bills. Municipal electricity aggregation allows local governments like the city of Champaign the option of bundling together residential and small business electricity accounts to seek out a cheaper source of power. The Illinois Municipal League estimates that such an action could save Champaign residents and small businesses as a whole up to $4 million each year. The city plans on putting municipal electric aggregation on the March 2012 ballot.
It's savings or no difference, and what we're looking at other cities is significant savings for the consumer. So we're very happy about that and very excited for the opportunity for people really to, take control of one of these costs that is always a burden on household budgets.
If the referendum is approved by voters, the city would take public input, develop a plan with goals, and then seek bids. A resident or small business can choose to opt out if they wish. Those who opt in favor of the program will not see a change in their Ameren bill or a reduction in energy charge. Now, if the referendum passes, it will likely begin sometime in July or August of 2012. Live in Champaign, James Fillmore, ABC News Channel 15. Heather, back to you.
Thanks, James. Customers already purchasing their power from a company other than Ameren will not be eligible for the municipal electric aggregation. A resident or small business can join at any time, but beware, some companies do have early termination of contract fees.
Champaign County Board will hold a study session this month to determine what changes need to be made to the downtown Urbana jail, which board members say is deteriorating fast. County Board Chair Pius Wiebel says the needs of the jail have changed since the 80s when it was first built. He says more women than ever before are in the jail, as well as mental patients. He says the project wouldn't be cheap. Its price tag would be in the millions, but he says the county has a responsibility to meet certain standards.
The demands are different now, and our system's not capable of taking in all those different types of prisoners. So we're looking at the possibility of making changes.
Wiebel says the board is looking at possibly tearing down the downtown jail and then adding to the Champaign County satellite jail. He says it will be years before construction begins.
The waiting list is about to reopen for people hoping to own a home in Danville.
The Habitat for Humanity there closed the list 2 years ago, but is now ready to once again take applications.
ABC News Channel 15's AJ Bayapor is live in our Vermilion County Bureau with more. AJ.
Well, Heather, Doug, people can get an early start by picking up one of these sheets. It lists the requirements and gives people an idea of what to expect at the application event next Saturday.
The Danville chapter is still a work in progress. After moving into an old fire station, Habitat's been more concerned with cutting down a growing waiting list.
It's disappointing for folks to put in an application, maybe be approved, and then wait 4 or 5 years, and we didn't want to do that. So we actually haven't accepted applications for 2 years.
But homes have been built and people have withdrawn from the list. For those looking to become a Habitat homeowner, Director John Graves says people must have a serious need.
We're looking for folks who are living in a house that the roof leaks, or they've got 4 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment, something like that.
But need is not enough. To have volunteers building you a house, you need to pitch in.
You have to have a job, you have to be able to pay for the house. Then you're required to put in a certain number of hours for what we call sweat equity. That kind of helps with your down payment, plus you need to come up with $1,000 for the down payment.
People can pick up an application checklist at the Restore on Walnut Street. At the application event, the staff will answer questions.
It's a long application. There are several pages to it, and some of those sections in that application are kind of difficult to understand.
But for those looking for a new house, what's a little paperwork?
That application event is next Saturday, the 14th, at the Danville Public Library. Now, staff will be there to take applications and answer questions from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, in 2010, when the list was last open, 22 people applied and 7 were approved. In our Vermilion County Bureau tonight, AJ Bide, ABC News Channel 15.
The Danville chapter of Habitat has been around since 1986, and in that time it's built 48 houses and plans to build 3 more this summer.
Well, whether you are looking to sell or buy a new home, experts say this year will be much better than the recent past. Find out why.
And Myers-Leonard came up big once again for the Illini in their win at Northwestern. Hear from the Illini's big man still ahead in sports. Well, it's no secret the housing market wasn't all that great in 2011, but this year things are looking a lot better, and that will help every homeowner regardless if you're looking to buy or sell. ABC News Channel 15's Andrew Hansen has more.
Turning these for sale signs into sold signs. That's always been the goal for realtors. This year, the housing market is expected to be much better.
We have very attractive interest rates at all of our local banks around here. And we are in an election year, so typically they say election years prop things up a little bit. We'll see how that plays out.
Jim Pate is the president of the Jacksonville Association of Realtors. Many experts say home prices will continue to be cheap in the beginning part of 2012. That should spur plenty of sales. By the end of the year, prices will go back up. In total, the National Association of Realtors expects existing home prices to increase 1.2% this year.
We don't have the highs and lows that the big markets have, but if we can keep moving up 3 to 5%, I think that would be outstanding for us.
When the housing market does well and prices rise, as the forecast predicts this year, it benefits more people than just those looking to buy or those looking to sell.
And that means more homes are being sold. We're getting rid of some of the excess inventory of houses that are in the marketplace. And as a result, that means more construction. More construction jobs mean a lot of increased manufacturing throughout the entire economy.
In Jacksonville, Andrew Hansen, ABC News Channel 15.
According to the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, last November the national average for a 30-year conventional fixed-rate mortgage was 3.99%. Well, Doug, you know, I went to the car wash today, and boy, the line was long.
The line was huge.
Yep.
Yeah, certainly. Well, people are anticipating a nice stretch here of some nice weather with no rain. Very unusual for the month of January. In fact, I visited a car wash about a week ago, and my car's still looking pretty good. Sullivan Park Hill Tower Cam looking out over North Champaign. Clear skies up above. We're going to show you the sunset and a few jets flying over a little earlier here this evening. And we'll look ahead to the Storm Team 15 forecast. Looking good over the next 6 days. Stay with us. You're watching ABC News Channel 15. Thanks for tuning in this evening. You know, I mentioned the vapor trails a little earlier. A lot of these clouds here that you're seeing aren't really clouds at all. They're actually vapor trails. And if you look real close, not only will you see the sunset, but you also see a few jets fly over here. You can see them streak across the sky looking like meteorites there. But it was a beautiful day. Look at that sunset over the western horizon. Another colorful way to end the day. And look at the high temperatures. 53. Do the math, 20 degrees above average. How about that? 23 degrees earlier this morning. The average high's at 33 degrees. Forget about it. It's not going to happen, at least not until maybe next week. 53. The high today in Champaign, but also in Paxton, 51 degrees in Paris and Watsika, 51s in Danville and Hoopston, 53 degrees the high in Rantoul. I think you get the idea. An above average day all the way around. Now we're seeing the temperatures dip down a bit. Champaign, Urbana, the cool spot, at least at Willard Airport, at 38 degrees, 43 in Paxton, 42 degrees in Watsika, 44 in Tuscola, mid-40s in Danville, 43 degrees over in the Crawfordsville area, and high pressure keeping us with clear conditions across the area. We're seeing a little bit of cloudiness up to the north, and that will be a part of our spoiler here as we get into the weekend. Now, we're not expecting this to bring us any precipitation at all, so if you did journey through the car wash today, you're safe, at least for a while anyway. Warming conditions will continue for the day tomorrow, but here comes that cold front sweeping down across mid-Illinois, bringing slightly cooler conditions for us for the weekend, but high pressure certainly keeping us with fair skies throughout the weekend. We should be looking good. A little disturbance out to the west should dissipate, but we'll keep an eye on that for the second half of the weekend. 35 degrees for the overnight low tonight, mostly clear skies across the area. Maybe a bit breezy as well. 54 degrees for a high temperature tomorrow. Once again, not only in Monticello but elsewhere, mostly sunny skies and a nice warm up, and then cooler conditions for the weekend, but still, do the math. We're still about 10 degrees or so above what's average for this time of year. And then we won't see those average temperatures until perhaps next Thursday. That midweek storm that we were talking about yesterday that could have brought us a wintry mix, well, we're down now to a 30% chance of a few showers probably occurring during the day, as temperatures will be dropping down below freezing late Wednesday night. And so far, we're not expecting that wintry mix that we were talking about yesterday. But stay tuned. There could be some updates later.
Yeah, if you've got things to do outside, now's the time to do it.
Now's the time to get it done, and it's a bonus period, too, for mid-January, or early January, I should say. We're looking pretty good.
Yeah, we don't see it often. Thanks, Doug. Northwestern gave the Illini all they could handle Wednesday night, but Illinois was able to pull out a win on the road. Here from the Illini head coach Bruce Weber next in sports. Welcome back. Illinois basketball picked up their first Big Ten road win of the season last night in a nail-biter against Northwestern. ABC News Channel 15's Mike Lederer joins us now with a look back at last night's win. Mike.
Well, Heather, it all came down to the final play of the night, but Illinois basketball, they found a way to pick up their first win at Northwestern in 3 seasons. With Sam Maniscalco missing the game due to an ankle injury, the Illini really struggled with turnovers early on, but the team regrouped at halftime and locked down at the defensive end. Even after a late second half run, Illinois held Northwestern to just 20 points on 6 of 26 shooting from the field in the second half. The Wildcats had just 9 points during the first 17 minutes of the second half. Defense was the key for the Illini, and it showed on the final play of the game as Myers-Leonard blocked Drew Crawford's game-winning attempt to seal the victory. Coach Bruce Weber and Leonard reflected on the big defensive effort immediately after the game.
And you got to man up and guard them. We were locking in. We were supposed to lock in and make the other guys make plays, but obviously we didn't do a good enough job on them. You know, we did shut down Shertam. Pretty much the second half, he did make a big 3 down the stretch. And, you know, I think the bench was so important. You know, Sammy's sitting out. Tracy has to play a lot of minutes. Nana came in when Myers was putzing around in the first half at 9. Mike Henry made some big plays. So, you know, it's a grind-out game. Obviously, it could have been a little prettier down the stretch.
You know, in the first half, I lost a little bit of confidence. You know, wasn't playing too well, didn't have enough energy. You know, came out in the second half. You know, coach just kind of got me going in the locker room. Came out here, you know, like you said, asserted myself in the paint on both ends. You know, got some more rebounds. You know, got in the paint on the offensive end. You know, I didn't finish like I normally would. You know, I was taking some bumps down there. Didn't get many calls, but you know, I got to expect that being the biggest guy on the court.
And Tim Beckman has his first commitment as Illinois head coach, and it's a big one. 6'2", 250-pound defensive end Tico Powell announced today that he will join the Illini in the fall. Powell from Norland High School in Miami, Florida, chose Illinois over offers from Florida, Florida State, Louisville, LSU, and Wisconsin. Powell is expected to have an opportunity to be a part of the Illini's defensive line rotation during the 2012 season. That's it for sports. Heather, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. And here's a look at what's on tap for 10. Fast Break 15 returns tomorrow night, but tonight it's all about girls high school hoops. We'll check in with Centennial, Muhammad Seymour, and St. Thomas More. Plus, Michigan and Indiana square off in Big Ten basketball, and the Chicago Blackhawks return to Philadelphia for the first time since winning the Stanley Cup. And here's a look at tonight's stock market report. We'll be right back.
It was a beautiful day today. It's going to be a nice one again tomorrow. No precipitation to report on ESP Live across the area with clear skies. 54 will be the high tomorrow as things warm up. Definitely above average for this time of year. Average highs at around 33, so we're well over 20 degrees above average. But we'll fall a bit as we get into the weekend, but still about 10 degrees plus above average. 45 expected for Saturday and 42 on Sunday with a little bit of cloudiness. Our next weather system not expected until Wednesday. We've got a 30% chance of a few showers. Of course, you can follow along the weather at any time by going to our website. That's at WICD15.com, and an invitation goes out for you to join us tonight at 10 for the latest.
Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.